Siamo online.
Well, 65 years after Italy hosted the Kangaroos, the Azzurri find themselves not so far from where it all began on Italian soil. This time it's the 2025 Euros, and first up a showdown with Ukraine here in Udine. Good afternoon, everybody. Jason Costigan in the commentary box, a little bit later than expected, on location here in northern Italy on what is a gorgeous afternoon in this part of the world, and it promises to be an exciting game of international rugby league, this one. Both teams boasting some well-credentialed overseas-based personnel complementing the local talent from the two countries involved. We're only a couple of minutes into this one. Italy have possession here on the back of a penalty. The Azzurri running from right to left on your screen, up against the touring Ukrainians who played in the Netherlands last weekend. A big win over the Dutch Lions. And look at the enthusiasm from the Ukrainians in defence, muscling up in these opening exchanges. And look at this. They're more than willing and able in these opening exchanges. A glorious afternoon, the ground bathed in sunshine as we see the Azzurri spreading the ball. Here they go out wide. And Piccirilli from the Dapto Canaries injecting himself. 6 to go, signalled by the referee. We'll come to him in a moment. 20 metres out from the goal line. Italy on the attack. The Italians ranked 17th in the world. And going through a gaping hole. And here comes the try, the opening try. And the Azzurri, they will play from in front. My goodness, it opened up. Try and pick up the try scorer's number. I think it might have been Biondi. We'll just try and check the number of the try scorer. And we'll get confirmation on the number of the try scorer. It happened all quickly, a long way from our action. And it was the captain, Biondi, former Queensland Cup player with the Northern Pride out of the tourist city of Cairns in far north Queensland. I wonder if they're watching 16,000 kilometres away on a late Saturday night. In the old days, they'd be having a Cairns draft, enjoying some European Rugby League action. But the Azzurri get the opening try and a shot at goal straight forward here for Corte. Alessandro Corte converts the try scored by his captain, Dominic Biondi, and Italy with the lead. Early days, of course. It's Italy 6, Ukraine no score. And again, apologies for our transmission issues from the get-go, missing the kickoff. But that's the first try, the only point so far. The try scored by the Italian captain, Dominic Biondi, and converted by the standoff, Alessandro Corte. Small crowd, but certainly making a lot of noise before the two teams went out. We had the national anthems, as you can well imagine. And as we get back underway, we also mark the recent passing of a former Ukrainian national squad player in Mykola Hetmanov, who sadly was a casualty of war in Kharkiv early this month. Played for the Legion 13, the famous Legion 13. And it goes without saying, our thoughts and prayers continue to be with the good people of Ukraine, and particularly the Ukrainian rugby league community, mourning the passing of the late Mykola Hetmanov, whose passing was observed with the minute's silence prior to kickoff here this afternoon. A mistake from the Italians, giving Ukraine now an opportunity.
Number 7.
And so we have a bit of a hold up here. Not sure what the problem is. The referee, by the way, I said we'd come to him in a moment. He's a Frenchman. He comes from Villeneuve, the home of the Leopards, who played Super 13, formerly Elite 1. And he's 22 years of age, but it's his third time at the Euros, the Rugby League Euros, of course. So to Enzo Piri, bonjour. We hope you have a good day at the office. The man in pink who's in charge and supported by his sideline officials, obviously. So we wish them well in their endeavours, not only today, but during the course of this Rugby League Euros 2025 edition. Great to have your company wherever you're watching around the Rugby League universe, as we see a spread here from the Italians, a shift to the right, leading 6 points to nil in Udine in northern Italy. Great to be here. I got off the train literally just over 3 hours ago, and you're probably wondering if I had a bit of classic Italian cuisine before coming to the ground. Well, I have to confess, I didn't have time for that, as we see the Azzurri go downtown and they find the touchline. And I have to fess up, I didn't do it myself, but I had a colleague and he went to the Golden Arches. Can you believe it? That was my lunch. No Italian sausage. Not for yours truly today in Udine. But we've certainly been enjoying the hospitality of the Italians far and wide. Coming in from Verona this morning on the train. And as I say, the ground is bathed in sunshine. And apologies if our camera was a little bit rickety, if you like. That was because yours truly sometimes gets a little bit excited in the commentary box. And just being reminded by my Italian friends and colleagues, try not to get too excited.
Yeah.
We've got a long way to go, by the way, of course. 6-0 it is. Ukraine have got the pill. Coached by Dan Beardshaw, who we should give a shout out to his better half watching down under. Dan is a British-born and bred police officer who works for the New South Wales Police, as I understand, and he became a father only 6 months ago. So Mum is holding the fort. We wish her well, and so too baby. But Dad's on the job here today with his Ukrainian side in possession, and they go to Clary, and Clary with the midfield bomb. Oh, good take at the back. Pitcher, really. Oh, they've stuffed it up here, the Italians. What are they doing? And going close to the sideline. Well, Picciarelli from the Dapto Canaries, a famous club in New South Wales, about an hour and a half south of Sydney. He had a big job to catch that bomb. He did well, but on the back of that, they nearly threw it away. But just coming to Clary, he is a linchpin, no doubt, for the Ukrainians, wearing the number 7 shirt. And, of course, he is the brother of NRL superstar Nathan Cleary, and Jet making his debut for Ukraine last weekend in the Netherlands in that big victory over the men in orange. Referee has his arm extended, so Italy go to the heavens with Damian Nati with the bomb straight down the throat of the fullback in Gromov. Yuri brings it back with plenty of gusto, and he's banged down by the Azzurri captain in Biondi. Ukraine about 35 metres out from their own goal line. The Ukrainians, oh, monstering tackle that was. Good shot. And on the receiving end was Besnashuk. Well, it shook him up. Good shot it was. And this is a surging run, a terrific run here from Ukraine, going straight up the middle and playing direct and getting a penalty for inside the 10 metres. The referee blowing the whistle after a nice follow-up run there from the Ukrainian second row forward in Naranoa, who is a forward of Maori and Ukrainian heritage, hence his selection by coach Dan Beardshaw. So the visitors kick for touch, and it's their first real opportunity to pose some questions of the Italians in defence. So let's see how they go. Not sure what they're doing here, taking an age to get us back underway. Now we go forward with Besnashuk. Besnashuk looks to penetrate the line 16 metres away, attacking the southern end of the ground here in Udine. Terrific day for rugby league, I've got to say. Picture postcard day. 10 metres out. A real test here for the Azzurri. Ukraine with Besnashuk in the corner. They get the job done. And Vedler is too deadly. And the visitors with the reply. And 6 plays 4, kick to come. Nice shift to the right. And they cash in the corner. Well, the Ukrainians got the penalty. And they made the most of it. And the Italians with something to think about at the southern end of the ground. Not a big crowd here today, but certainly a number of people making a bit of noise not far from where we are, situated in our makeshift commentary position. And so a shot coming up here for the gun signing. Well, not a signing, of course, but certainly a player that has breathed some life into this Ukrainian international program in Jet Clary. Of course, he was one of the stars of the show for the New Zealand Warriors in winning the New South Wales Cup competition only a few weeks ago. And then going one step further, his Warriors side defeating the Burleigh Bears in the National Championship final, which is a curtain raiser, one of the curtain raisers to the NRL Grand Final. And of course, when we think of NRL, we think none other of his brother, Nathan, superstar of the modern game. And I'm sure he'll be chuffed to bits once again to see his brother running around in the national colours of Ukraine. So here he is, Jet Clary, just in from the sideline, on its way. It'll be waved away. So the try by Vedler goes unconverted, and it remains 6-4. Italy 6, Ukraine 4. This is live international rugby league coming your way out of Udine in northern Italy.
You are awesome.
I wonder what those Italians were saying in the huddle, because that looked a little too easy. And I'm reliably told that an old friend of mine from Auckland, the city of sails, he's somewhere in the house today. And that is Ivan Clary. Proud dad today, watching son Jet in action for Ukraine. Great moment for the family, no doubt about that. We're back underway in Udine. Plenty of elevation with the restart. That pass looked to be dodgy, but the referee says play on. Ukraine inside their own 20-metre zone. Nothing fancy here from the visitors. Easy win it was last weekend against the Dutch. But I'm sure the players and the coaching staff all agreed before kickoff here today this would be a much tougher assignment. 10 metres short of halfway, and Ukraine going straight up the middle. Nothing fancy here from them. The last has been signalled, so they'll resort to the kick here. And Scorbutch, the 38-year-old veteran, pumps it downtown. Bouncing ball for the fullback in Piccirilli. And he's picked off by the chasing team. The Azzurri keeping the ball alive. 20 up from their own goal line. Piccirilli will play it back. In fact, he's walked off the mark, I believe. It's a penalty against the team in possession. Wow. Well, that's what I think it is. What if you're Ukraine, you want to tap and go right here. And the referee, well, it looks like he wants to have a cup of tea. I'm not sure why we need to have a lecture here. This is one of the issues with rugby league in Europe, and I know where we get it from. This stop-start stuff, which annoys a lot of people. There's no need for this. Ukraine have got the penalty. It's a tap and go, and And the referee, well, he looks like he wants to audition for a job at Oxford as a university lecturer. This is not Oxford, it's not Cambridge, and it's certainly not the south of France. And after all that, I don't want to get on my soapbox, but too much time has elapsed for my liking. And if you're Ukraine, you can't be happy with this because it gives the defence a chance to set. And it's a testing time, certainly now for the Azzurri. Ukraine on the attack, 10 metres out from that southern end, looking for try number 2. Looking for the lead. Clary, mixing it up. And another penalty here. It's a give 2 points, and it's for a high tackle. And it's a pretty straightforward decision here for the visitors. Surely, to goodness, they'll take the 2 here on offer to lock up the game at 6 apiece. Crazy stuff. I can't believe it. They go for the tap and go. They want 4 points, if not 6. A give 2 points, and they turn it down. Clary has a crack. Clary goes close. Clary offloads in traffic. Got it back to the fullback, and Gromov, he got shut down. Desperate defence here from the Azzurri. Clary will score this time. Clary gets the job done. Boy, oh boy, he is hot to trot in his second game for Ukraine. And the visitors, they take the lead. And the Italian crowd, well, they're like stunned mullets. They can't believe it. My goodness. Clary demanding the rugby league football and taking the line on, and with plenty of venom. Too deadly for the Azzurri, and Ukraine lead 8-6. Wow. I've just been offered some Coca-Cola. I don't need to be revved up anymore. Next thing, they'll be giving me red cordial. So Skorbach has the shot at goal. Clary had one shot and has been relieved of his commission. Skorbach is the captain. Kick is on its way, and he caresses this one between the uprights. And so it's Ukraine leading the host nation, Italy, 10 points to 6. Well, if you joined us late, Italy scored the opening try through the captain, Dominic Biondi, out of Winner Manley on Brisbane's Bayside. One of a number of overseas-based players involved in this one. But since then, it's been all Ukraine. We're back underway. Ukraine in possession, bringing the ball back from the restart. In case you're wondering, this competition continues on Wednesday afternoon. Well, I tell you what, Italy, they must feel hard done by here, because I tell you what, I thought Ukraine lost the ball there, lost the ball cold, and the referee, the French referee, says, no way, it's a penalty. Well, I say to the man in charge, you're kidding.
You're kidding.
I tell you what, I've got a few Italians looking at me, and it's not because of my poor Italian. It's a big leg up for Ukraine. They're on the attack, and they're about 30 metres out from where they want to be.
Bravo, man.
So the Ukrainians, with great field position, they're going to test out the Azzurri once more in defence here. They're inside that proverbial red zone. Centre of the field, options left and right. They come the ladder. Here's Clary running the show once more. It comes across to Gromov. Gromov got rid of one, can't get rid of the pill. He dies with the ball, and they are 10 metres away. Battle stations here for the Azzurri. They stack the short side. Oh, great vision from Clary. I thought there was a knock on. 6 to go is the call, and they're claiming a try. No try it is. And the man who went close was Lubomir Besnashuk. I'll tell you what, he's a robust right centre, and he takes some stopping, proving to be a bit of a menace for this left side defence for the Azzurri. So he's been told to go back to the 10-metre line for the play of the ball. Clary at first receiver. Now shift onto the left. Oh, nice silky pass there. Nice skills. Forward pass. Well, hard for us to say otherwise. The referee much closer to the action. He spotted the infringement. And so for now, the pressure off the Italians. One of the more interesting stories today is one of the front rowers for Ukraine, and Reese Seglatano. He made his debut for Ukraine last weekend in the Netherlands, but a former Italian international. That's right, he swapped sides. He's got rid of the blue and gone for the yellow and blue. And he's eligible for both countries, needless to say. And speaking to his mum and auntie before the game, they were very excited about being here. So a great moment for the entire family, the Seglatano family. A warm welcome to Udine to them, with Reese in jersey number 27, or if you're in the UK, shirt number 27 for Ukraine, but playing in the front row as we see the Azzurri going straight up the field, nice and direct. It's a real family affair, isn't it? International Rugby League, particularly at this level with the likes of... Oh, here we go. Italy go through into open pasture. Nice bust from the North Queensland Cowboys forward in Lenars. Good bust it was. Kick over the top from Nati. Bouncing ball. Danger for Ukraine. Oh, that could have ended up anywhere. But what about the Cowboy on the loose? Made his NRL debut against Parramatta not that long ago. Nicholas Lenars. He just got into that backfield. He probably thought, how good's this? And in the end, it breaks down for Italy, but promising signs there. And he's one of the strike players playing in the second row for this game under coach Leo Epifania. One of the great men of International Rugby League is Leo. He deserves a pat on the back. He's been there well, he seems to have been there forever in the coaching staff for the Azzurri. Here they go with Piccirilli. Piccirilli! Here comes the Dapto Canary! And he got the job done! Oh, don't the locals love that? Bellissimo Rugby League! Piccirilli! That gets the fans excited. And all of a sudden, it's even Stevens, 10-all here in Udine, with Jack Piccirilli scoring the try, injecting himself from fullback and levelling the scores in the process. Great stuff from Jack Piccirilli. The Dapto Canaries. I get excited for good reason, because they're a famous club in the city of Wollongong, Rugby League heartland, on the other side of the world. A club that's certainly churned out plenty of superstars and been home to some big names over many years. In fact, back in the old days, people like Alan Fitzgibbon, the father of Craig, the Diamond Brothers, Bobby and Peter, Brian Hetherington, and the famous Lord Ted Goodwin. More recent times, Paul McGregor. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's still involved with the club as director of coaching. Here's the shot at goal. Up go the flags. And so Italy regained the lead in Udine at 12 points to 10 over Ukraine. Some of the other players that come out of Dapto, if memory serves me right, Dean Young and Steve Bluey Southern. Bit of a factory it is for players at the elite level. And as I said, the Fitzgibbon family with Alan and son Craig. Craig, of course, the head coach nowadays of the Cronulla Sharks. And he won a couple of grand finals at Dapto before going on to bigger and better things, firstly with the Steelers in the Illawarra. We're back underway, and Italy with this 2-point advantage on a glorious day in northern Italy. There's a bit of cloud, but there's no sign of rain. It's a sunny afternoon, and no one's expecting rain. It's around 23 degrees for kickoff. There's a bit of a breeze, and it's behind Italy, so they probably need to make the most of this breeze in the first half. Here's a penalty, and they should find touch here on the back of that high shot on the other side of halfway. So the Italian standoff, Alessandro Corte with the touch finder. No, he failed to do it. Can you believe it? A cardinal sin. I'm not sure if the local parish priest is doing reconciliation, but that is a cardinal sin in rugby league, failing to find touch. Dear, oh dear. Ukraine, they're not complaining. What's happened here? Not playing the ball on the mark, so we'll do it again. Ukraine making some inroads. Davide Kola is down injured in back play, so they're a man short, the Azzurri. There's a shift onto Scorbach. Now there's a spill, and Troyan, he dropped the lollies, and the pressure off the Azzurri. So we haven't had a chance to go through the teams because we had an issue with our transmission from the get-go. So the Italian side, and I'll just go through this where we can in between these sort of stoppages. At fullback, Jack Piccirilli. The wingers are Pasira and Lenzo. Stamatos and Gallinaro are the centres. Corte and Nati are the halves. Kola, Vissalo, and Biondi the front row. Lenars, Michele, Ugo, and Plati are the rest of the forwards. And on the bench, Bologna, Ciancella, Solder, and Spedgerin. And the coach, of course, Leo Epifania. I'll come to the Ukrainian side in a moment. Italy have got the ball. Azzurri with a 2-point lead. Good shot in traffic there. Ukraine, they are certainly up for the challenge here. Now the last coming up for the Azzurri. Nice service out of dummy half from Vitsalo. That pass was forward, and the touch judge missed it. Or did he? No, he's called it. And has he called an intentional forward pass? I'm not sure what happened there because the pass was on the other side of halfway. So I'm a little perplexed as to what the call is here. I suspect it was for the forward pass. So they got it right in the end. That's all that matters. Touch finder is a good one for Ukraine. As I say, I'll come to their side when we get a chance. Ukraine with Kozak playing the ball, coming across this open side. Segletano's been busy. So too this man. He's been arguably the best player on the field. That is no surprise. Clary offloading. Back to Gromov. Gromov! Oh, Gromov! He's too good. He's too slippery. And he scores for Ukraine in what is a seesawing affair in Udine. Ukraine back in front by 2 points with a kick to come. Well, on the back of that penalty for the forward pass, Italy have only themselves to blame.
Sometimes speak in front of the screen, okay? Sometimes, not every day.
We might just go through the Ukrainian side whilst Skorbach slots the extras. He makes no mistake. A big point scorer in the history of Ukrainian Rugby League, the greatest player in the history of Ukrainian Rugby League. He converts the try scored by the fullback Yuri Gromov. And so Gromov is the fullback. The wingers are Zazimko and Vedla, the latter of whom scored the first try for Ukraine. Troyan and Besnashuk are the centres. Skorbach and Clary in the halves. And the forward pack up front. Segletano, Owen Gromov and Karpenko. In the second row, Nara Noah, Formyuk and Terezko, my apologies. And on the bench, Jennison, Pokotilo, Hiroshenko, Kozak, and the 18th man is Popoluk. The coach, Dan Beardshaw. We are back underway into the next chapter of this bouncing ball. Ukraine, what are you doing? Flirting with danger, flirting with the sideline. Luckily for Ukraine, they've still got it. This is Besnashuk. 25 out from their own goal line. Jennison with a sortie from dummy half. Here's a penalty. This will help Ukraine's cause. Lack of discipline here for the Italians. So the touch finder is okay. And Ukraine on the attack with Nara Noah. He's the 25-year-old who I mentioned earlier, has got Maori ancestry, but also obviously Ukrainian heritage. Hence, he's on the field for Ukraine. Right side second rower. Here's Clary in traffic, and the ball comes loose. The idea was very good, but the execution found wanting. So we have a knock-on against Ukraine. Jet Clary in his second international appearance. His dad, Nathan, in the house. Four-time premiership winning coach of the Panthers, of course. Did I say Nathan or Ivan? Sometimes when you're flying solo in this job, you get carried away. Of course, I'm referring to Ivan, four-time premiership winning coach of the Panthers, whom I first came across when he was playing for the Warriors in Auckland in the early part of this century. That seems a long time ago. It was a long time ago. Penalty to the Azzurri, and this time they make sure of it. They fine touch on the eastern sideline. So we're in the back end of the first half. What's been a very entertaining first half, I must say. Hope you're enjoying our coverage live and free from northern Italy. We're in Udine, about an hour or so from Venice by car, something like that.
2 hours.
A couple of hours, they tell me. I wonder if that's in a Fiat. Maybe it's 2 hours in a Fiat and maybe a bit faster in a Lamborghini. Yeah. I haven't been driving a Fiat, not on this trip anyway. I did last year, but not in Italy. Mistake here. In fact, it's a penalty against Italy. Well, they just can't they can't keep their house in order. The Azzurri, their discipline has been found wanting. Their respect for the football has been found wanting. Oh, bone-jarring defence here. Someone sent out the message, and they've delivered in spades, at least on this play. Good shot it was. Biondi was in the thick of it. Davide Cola also adding some starch. Those middle forwards need to muscle up. Here's an offload for Ukraine. They're looking dangerous. Besnashuk with some stepping. Powerful centre, and he is restrained right in front of our commentary position, adjacent to the halfway line, western sideline or thereabouts. What happened there? Was that knocked down? Was that 6 to go? Was that an optical illusion? I'm not sure what happened there, but anyway, Ukraine have still got the ball. Skorbach. Oh, nice work out wide from Skorbach. He's looking for ball runners, looking for hole runners. And Ukraine are finding some holes in what looks to be a very flimsy Italian defence. The last has been signalled. 20 metres away. Clary, inside ball. Gromov. That went backwards, surely. Yes, it did go backwards. Still the last. They get a kick in. Crossfield kick. Oh, it's been diffused. And Passera did well. He took the ball. I was holding my breath. I thought, is he going to eat this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Well, he did exactly that. And he was probably looking for the tiramisu. It was a catch that had to be made. Italy, 20 metres out from their own goal line. And now some safety-first football, you would imagine. Ukraine with a 4-point advantage. Last has been signalled here. Half-time can't be too far away. And they muck it up. They muck it up very badly, Italy. They fail to get to their kick. And that is very, very disappointing indeed. It'll be a turnover here on the last. And the Azzurri just inviting trouble for themselves. The referee, Enzo Pire, just having a bit to say to one or two of the Italians. Our French whistleblower this afternoon. We're back underway. Skorbach. Nice work out wide. Going across to, is that the 18 out there? Looked to be Popluke. Well, that's gone forward as well. In fact, the Italians aren't happy. They're trying to give the referee some advice. But we're going to have a scrum. So it was a knock-on against Ukraine. So if you're scratching your head about this game and how this all works, there's another one coming up on Wednesday afternoon local time, as we see a penalty go to Italy for offside play on the back of that scrum. Nati very keen to get on with the job with a quick touch finder. So that game on Wednesday afternoon here in Udine, that's between Ukraine and Greece.
Yes.
So that's 4 days from now. Ukraine versus Greece as the Euros continue. And a week from today, it's a meeting of two great rivals at this same venue. Once again, it's the Italians at home to Greece. So a couple of big games to look forward to in this part of the world between now and next weekend. Another penalty to Italy. They trail by 4 in the run-up to half-time. They could have a shot at goal here, but I'd be looking to keep the pressure on here. And the referee looks to be telling Italy to calm down. They're actually going to have a shot at goal. Well, I can't believe that. I really can't believe that. Fair enough if you've got Daryl Halligan or Hazem El Masri, or if you're from the dark side, Johnny Wilkinson in your ranks. But I think that's a negative tactic when you're down by 4, unless they've just checked with the referee and there's 60 seconds to go. And if there's 60 seconds to go, because there's no clock here, we're actually lucky to see the scoreboard from where we are, because there's been some people loitering around the scoreboard. And I'll tell you what, in a previous life, I used to be a scoreboard attendant. And if you did that, you'd be banned. It'd be like going over to the dark side. You'd be rubbed out. I have some people here who obviously have got a good grasp of English looking up at me in the box. And if they've got nothing to do at halftime, they could bring us a coffee. This will bring some joy to Italy's fans. So a shot at goal, a penalty goal, raises the flags. And so it's a 2-point deficit right on half-time. And so we will pause for that coffee break if you like. Pretty sure that's half-time. And at the break, as the referee calls a halt to proceedings, at half-time here in Udine, in this opening match of the Euros of 2025 in northern Italy, we've got the Azzurri 12. We'll make that 14. Ukraine 16. Halftime score, Italy 14, Ukraine 16. We'll take a break and our coverage will resume after we have a break. Stay with us. You're watching the Euros live and free from Udine.